lot of marriages have absolutely zero communication because
I'm sorry that I'm having so many cigarettes, but they really keep me warm during this.
And and that's something certainly that I need to work on in my marriage. How do you get communication back?
We need to have time tonight or else I'm gonna be mad.
She said the sexiest thing in her whole life is when she's... I think one of the most important things you talked about is communication. And a lot of marriages have absolutely zero communication because your paths just become separate. My wife works all day, I work all day, I work later, I come home, she's cooked dinner for the kids, I come home and eat leftovers, and then she's watching something, I go watch something else, and there's no time for us to have that open lines of communication.
Right.
There's no time.
Right.
There's no time with kids running around, and you got to take kid to school, you got to go to sports, you got to go to work, how do you get communication back in a marriage, and that's something certainly that I need to work on in my marriage. The communication. I need to tell her.
You need to be
when I'm
direct.
mad.
Yes, you need to be direct.
It's our New Year's resolution, right? We got to tell everybody how we really feel, and that includes your intimate other. That includes your wife, your spouse.
And sometimes it's in the middle of the day. Like if we're having a busy day, and I know things get much more challenging with more kids and more schedules, but even with one, I can understand in a minor scale of it, like even if it's in the middle of the day and I know that it's not going to happen until hours from now, but I can sense that there's resentment or that there's anger building up in me, I'll say something immediately like, we need to have this tonight. We need to have time tonight or else I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be angry and I'm going to be angrier and we're not going to be able to come back tomorrow and just have a normal day or else that all gets swept under the rug. We have to talk about it in the moment. Women really need to hear this too. But because men are the initiators, I think that men have to hear this first. I mean, you need to be the one who goes, and even if it's in the middle of the day, just come while she's cooking, come to the back and put your hand on her back and just say hey, I really hope we can have this time later because you're looking great tonight or something like that. Something that just kind of gets the emotions flowing, but that puts it out there that this is something that's on my radar. This is on my radar. And this is where I see the night going, and this is what I need. But just being more upfront about the communication, I think that all couples could benefit from this, including us. I mean, including my relationship with Steven, this is something that has improved. I'm sorry that I'm having so many cigarettes, but they really keep me warm during this. Cigars.
You want another one?
Yeah. Communication is really what this comes back to, but just being in the moment with the communication and not waiting until it's too late. Try not even to wait until after the schedules.
It's so tough because so many relationships just live separate lives, and I'm part of that. I just live a separate life from my wife. I feel like, and I need to fix that.
That's really tricky too because we work together and we're together all the time, which is super helpful. But most relationships aren't like that. So, I mean, if I try to put myself in a perspective where we didn't see each other all day, and I've been in relationships like this too, where you don't see each other all day, and you are on different clocks and different timelines and you have different priorities and you're just living different lives, that adds a whole nother layer of intricacy. And I think that that's why, stating your needs and being on top of it is going to help relationships more. Just keeping it a normal part of the conversation. I feel better every single time that I'm cooking and Steven comes up behind me and will hug me or put his hand on my back, or even just a simple check-in, and it's even more exciting if he says something that's going to make me excited.
Yeah.
I usually just slap her ass. That's
I met a woman from Utah one time on a trip, and she said the sexiest thing in her whole life is when she's washing dishes and her husband comes up behind her and starts rubbing her back. Mm-hmm. That was the most
and
intimate.
I don't care if I'm doing the dishes.
Yeah.
And then I don't care if he came up and he rubbed my back and I can see that he's there. I'm able to take like, okay, I'm the nurturer. I'm in charge of like, you know, a lot of parts of this whole household and whole relationship that have to do with nurturing and nurturing. If you look at that word, I mean, that's just taking care of things that need to be taken care of. And, you know, sometimes that really just does mean the dishes, and that means like feeding the family. And these are just tasks. It doesn't mean that it always has to be the woman's tasks, but it means that if you're being resentful over nurturing types of tasks, how can you channel it in a different way? How can you be on top of your own communication? How can you maybe identify areas that maybe you're not even using sex as an outlet to get deeper and to understand that it has healing properties. And I think that that's another huge place to start. People don't even do that. I mean, I don't think a lot of men do that. Do you look at it as a sacred thing? I mean, is this something that resonates with you?
I mean, you know, I don't really know because I'm normally not there when that's happening. So I'm kind of, because I work late.
After.
You know, I come in after. I come home, you know, about 9 o'clock at night every night. You know, after dinner is done and everybody's asleep. You know, not asleep, but they're just kind of laying around on the couches watching TV. You know, relaxing. I don't know where to go from there.